The year is 1000 AD. The Western Baltic churns with oars and war cries as 70 longships close in for the kill. King Olaf Tyrgvason stands on the deck of his legendary warship, the Long Serpent, watching three enemy fleets converge from every direction. Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian rebels have formed an alliance to destroy him. Arrows darken the sky. Warriors bind their ships together to form floating fortresses. It's the Battle of Swolder, the bloodiest naval clash the Viking world has ever seen. But let's change one thing. Emerging from the morning mist at the mouth of the strait is something no one understands. A gray steel warship with no sails, no oars, and a hull that rises from the water like a cliff face. It's an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer from 2024 dropped into a battle it was never meant to fight. So what happens when the most advanced destroyer on Earth is unleashed during one of history's most brutal Viking naval battles? Can it survive 1,000 screaming warriors? Or is it just one ship against 70? First, let's talk about what we just dropped into the Viking Age. The Arleigh Burke stretches 509 feet, longer than the Long Serpent and every other ship at Swolder combined. 4 gas turbines produce 100,000 horsepower, pushing it past 30 knots. That's 4 times faster than a longship under sail and 10 times faster than one under oars. Its 5-inch deck gun fires 20 rounds per minute with radar guidance, hitting targets accurately at 13 nautical miles. The destroyer carries 600 rounds for that gun alone. It has 96 vertical launch cells packed with missiles designed to kill ships, aircraft, and land targets from over the horizon. 2 Seahawk helicopters can scout, attack, or rescue from distances Vikings can't comprehend. The Aegis combat system ties everything together. Radar that can track hundreds of contacts simultaneously, computers that calculate firing solutions in milliseconds, and sensors that see through fog, smoke, and darkness. But here's the thing about Vikings. They don't care how scary you look. The coalition arrayed against Olaf is massive. Danish King Sven Forkbeard, Swedish King Oluf, and Norwegian Earl Erik have assembled over 70 warships and thousands of warriors. These aren't raiders. They're professional killers who've spent their lives training for exactly this kind of fight. Their longships are engineering marvels. The largest carry 60 to 70 men each with drafts under 1 meter, shallow enough to navigate waters where the destroyer would run aground. Under favorable wind, a longship can sprint at 17 knots. They're fast, maneuverable, and designed for one purpose: getting warriors close enough to board. Viking sea battles work like infantry combat on floating platforms. Ships close, grapple, and bind together. Then warriors storm across decks with axes, swords, and spears, clearing the enemy hull by hull. There are no cannons, no rams, no ranged ship-killing weapons. Victory goes to whoever can get their men onto the enemy deck first. And that's exactly what they're going to try against a steel warship. The encounter begins at dawn. The destroyer's radar paints contacts emerging from behind coastal islands. Dozens of low-profile wooden holes, their signatures mixing with shoreline clutter. The Combat Information Center buzzes with activity as operators try to classify what they're seeing. Fishing boats? Merchants? Warships? The captain orders a cautious approach. Warning shots might work. Intimidation might scatter them. The destroyer's horn bellows across the water, a sound no human in 1000 AD has ever heard. The Vikings don't scatter, they accelerate. From Earl Erik's flagship, the sight is incomprehensible. A massive gray vessel with no visible means of propulsion, making a sound like thunder, moving faster than any ship should be able to move. Some warriors cross themselves, others grip their axes tighter. But retreat isn't in the vocabulary. Whatever this sea monster is, it can be boarded. It can be taken, and the warrior who captures it will live forever in the sagas. The coalition splits into 3 groups, approaching from different angles through the narrow strait. Here's where the destroyer faces its first real problem. This isn't open ocean. It's a coastal choke point, islands, shoals, and shallow water on every side. The destroyer draws nearly 10 meters. The longships draw less than 1. The Vikings can go places the modern warship can't follow. They can hide behind islands, emerge suddenly at close range, and force the destroyer into waters where running aground becomes a real threat. The captain orders the 5-inch gun to engage. The first shell screams across the water and detonates 200 yards ahead of the lead longship. A column of water erupts skyward. The Vikings have never seen anything like it. Fire from nowhere. An explosion with no visible source. 2 longships peel off. A third keeps coming. The gun fires for real this time. 3 rounds in 4 seconds. The lead longship disintegrates. Wood, men, and oars scattered across the water in a spreading cloud of debris. The second ship takes a hit amidships and breaks apart. The third catches fire and begins to sink. But there are still 67 ships closing from 3 directions. This is the tactical problem the destroyer wasn't designed to solve. Its weapons are built for killing other warships, aircraft, and missiles, not dozens of wooden boats crewed by men who genuinely believe dying in battle guarantees them a seat in Valhalla. The gun keeps firing. 10 ships down, 15, 20. But the Vikings adapt. They spread out using islands for cover, approaching in waves rather than formations. Some ships deliberately sacrifice themselves, drawing fire while others slip closer through smoke and spray. The coalition commanders can't coordinate by radio, but they don't need to. Every warrior understands the objective. Get alongside, throw the grappling hooks, board. The destroyer's crew has another advantage: machine guns. 50 caliber rounds tear through Viking shields like paper. Men fall in rows as they rise to throw axes or draw bows, but there are so many of them, and the strait is getting narrower. The first grappling hook hits the destroyer's deck at 9:47 a.m. It's thrown from a longship that emerged from behind a rocky outcrop less than 50 yards away. Too close for the main gun to depress, too fast for the crew to react. A second hook follows, then a third. Warriors begin climbing. The destroyer's crew isn't helpless. There are 330 of them, and they're trained for damage control and small arms combat. Sailors with rifles and sidearms take positions along the rails. The boarding party is met with automatic weapons fire that cuts down the first climbers before they reach the deck. But more longships are closing. The strait has become a killing ground. Burning wrecks, screaming men, oil spreading across the water, and the destroyer can't maneuver freely without risking the shallows. The captain makes a decision: full reverse. Emergency speed, break contact. The gas turbines roar. The destroyer surges backward, snapping grappling lines and dragging 2 longships along before they tear free. Vikings tumble into the churning wake. The main gun resumes firing, now with clear arcs as the ship opens distance. By 11 a.m., the coalition has lost over 30 ships. The water is thick with wreckage and bodies, but Earl Eric's fleet is still largely intact. He held his ships back, watching, learning. He's seen the monster's teeth. Now he knows its weaknesses. It needs space to fight. It fears the shallows, and its thunder weapons, however terrifying, eventually stop, which means they can run dry. The destroyer has expended 180 rounds of 5-inch ammunition. It has no way to reload in the year 1000. Its fuel tanks are finite. Its helicopter aviation fuel can't be replaced. Every shell, every gallon, every spare part is irreplaceable. As afternoon shadows lengthen across the Baltic, the destroyer withdraws toward open water. Behind it, the surviving Viking fleet regroups. Olaf Tyrgvason, whether saved by the distraction or simply forgotten in the chaos, has escaped the trap that historically killed him. The Battle of Swolder has been transformed, but into what? The destroyer can win any engagement it chooses, but it can't be everywhere. It can't resupply. It can't repair battle damage without a shipyard that won't exist for 9 centuries. And it faces an enemy that doesn't fear death, doesn't need logistics, and can keep fighting as long as men can row and swing an axe. One ship changed one battle, but the Vikings will remember. They'll build new ships, they'll tell stories of the gray sea monster and the warriors brave enough to board it, and somewhere in the sagas yet to be written, the men who threw those grappling hooks will become legends. Not because they won, but because they didn't hesitate to try. Or what do you think would happen? And if you're curious what would happen if a modern destroyer fought the British Navy at Jutland, check out the video on screen now. Thanks for watching.